I'm going to show you how to learn to design jewelry in 3D for free in minutes. First thing you need to do is head to pencildesign.co and sign up for an account. Pencil is an online 3D jewelry design platform. It lets you design jewelry in a manufacturing ready state. You can do it with no training or experience designing in 3D, and at the end you produce a CAD that's fully manufacturable. You can sign up directly from the website. Once you've created your account, you'll log in and it's going to look like this. So the first thing you want to do, if this is your first time ever designing jewelry in 3D, start with a guided tour. These guided tours are going to give you all the tips that you need to be able to actually create designs, everything from engagement rings to stone pendants. I'll show you one now really quickly. It's really simple. If you start here and you go start tour, it'll load, it'll give you a quick little step. It'll give you a video that you can watch that's going to explain all of the controls, and then that's it. Really, really easy. Takes about a minute to watch the videos. For the rest of this video, I'm going to dive in and show some of the more advanced tools and explain just in general how Pencil works and how you can start designing. So the first thing, after you've watched some of these tours in Pencil, what you want to do is create a design. You're going to see a lot of different options here on the side. Depending on which account tier you're on. If you're on the free account, you'll see a lot of padlocks, but you can still design. If you're on a paid account, you'll see fewer padlocks. Some things like the ring builder and the name builder are for the top plan only, but everyone has access to design, and you can start a design by clicking here or by clicking start a new design here. So we're going to start a new design right now. So this is what happens when you start a new design. You start with a blank canvas. One thing that's really important about Pencil is learning the 3D controls. So by default, it's going to be locked, meaning nothing will rotate, but as soon as you click rotate, you'll be able to rotate and move your design around. Now within Pencil, there's a couple of different ways to design. You can start by using an existing base design, right? And so these are like base shapes and objects. There's heaps of flexibility when it comes to customizing them. We're going to pick a cathedral ring here. There's heaps of flexibility. So what you see in this image is only just one of the possibilities of what you can do, and you can add stones and you can change the shape and size of them. There's also templates. So templates are designs that have already been created but are fully editable. So you can dive in and take one of them, change it in any way you want, break it down into its components, change the shape and the size. You can also start designing from scratch using stones or using elements, which are a little bit more advanced tools, and that will be covered in other videos. But let's start right now. Let's grab a base design. We're going to grab a cathedral, and we're going to start with the cathedral ring here. Right, so it's going to load. Once you click on it, you load your base design. This tab here, Morph, this is where all of your controls are. So this is where we've gone and taken all of those really complex CAD controls that normally you have to learn and actually put them into an interface that's super easy to use. As I mentioned about the camera, right? If you click on rotate, that's going to allow you to rotate your design. You can then scroll in and out with your mouse. You can click these buttons here to get different angles and different views. You can reset the view there. Along here is where you're going to change your ring. So everything from changing the size, right? So if we wanted to make this a larger ring, let's change it to say a size 8.5. That's going to go and change that. Every time you make a change, there'll be a really quick reload as it regenerates the new version for you. You've got your values here. So if we wanted to make this band a little wider, let's make it 2.15 millimeters. You can enter that in, and that's going to increase that. We might make it a little smaller again. Let's go back. These controls control then the more advanced features of each design, right? So things like the arm height, the distance between here as well. So for example, if we're going to put a single stone, we'll want to reduce that distance. Things like the curve, so where it actually curves. And I encourage you to play around with these to get a sense of how they all fit together. You'll figure it out pretty quickly, even if you're not familiar with the jewelry terms. You can turn on comfort fit, you can adjust then the curve of the comfort fit, you can adjust the corner radius of the ring itself, which is what this control does. So if you want it to be flat, move it down to 0 and you'll get this like really nice flat right angle. We're going to add some pave, so let's click yes. That will generate pave for us. And again, everything that's being created here can be fully edited. So once you generate pave, and pave sometimes takes a little longer to load, You can see this has put the stones all the way around the ring. Maybe you want it to only be halfway around the ring or 2/3. So let's do it at 180 degrees. So that's going to cut it off about halfway. You can also see there that you've got the option to change the pave stone size. So let's make it 1.1 millimeters. That's going to be a slightly smaller size stone. Now we want to add in our stone in the middle. So that's when we go to the Stones tab. On the Morph tab, that's where you control the band and the ring or any of the different types of base designs that you're working with. On the Stones tab is where we put stones in, and that's everything from a center stone to individually placing side stones to using stones for pendants. Let's use an emerald cut. You've got a few different options for how you do the sizing. You can either do a standard calibrated size. You can use the carat slider if you just wanted to put in like a 1 or a 1.5 carat size stone. You can put in manual dimensions here if you've got a really specific custom size you want to use. And then you've got all of your different setting options here. There's a lot of setting options. Again, I encourage you to just play around. You know, you'll see very quickly what they look like, and I'll show you how to change them so we can cycle through them. We're going to use a solitaire to begin with. And again, these settings, you'll see what they produce when we load the stone. So there's a curve and a rail and no halo. And we're going to grab a diamond as our stone. So it will load, and you'll get this stone sitting here on your cursor, on your mouse. It's going to move around as you move it. To place it, what we need to do is get it in the right spot. So I recommend clicking T for top, and then just moving that over until it feels like it's in the center, and we'll do some fine tuning in a second. To place it, double click, and you'll see down here there's always going to be these little tooltips that will give you a guide on what the next best action is. So it's telling us now that we've placed it to fine tune it, click it, and you'll be able to fine tune the rotation and position. So let's do that now. Let's actually click on that to fine tune it. If you click front, that's going to show the front view. Another little handy tip is if you go to settings, you can click on the grid. And that's really going to help you line it up. I'm going to move this. I'm going to pan the camera by holding shift, and I'm zooming in, and I'm going to click on that again. And I'm going to move it ever so slightly, as you can see, so that's perfectly aligned with the grid. And I'm going to click that green check mark and lock that into place. Now there's a few more edits that are needed to get this into the right position and to adjust these arms. So if we'll go back to Morph here, a couple of things that you'll want to do is you'll want to adjust the arm height a little bit. A little bit more. Okay, that's looking pretty good. We could still adjust the distance and have those sit out a little bit further if we wanted to as well. Now, once you've created a design, there's a few more things that you can do. You can generate high quality renderings to use on your website or on social media here. Probably the most important thing is actually downloading it, and I'll show you that in a second. You can also connect to a series of factories and manufacturers that we have. So if you click on Get It Made, that will then allow you to connect to our factories if you want to speak to somebody about having it made. You don't have to, you can make it yourself as well. If you are publishing it to your website, you can click Add to Shop. So that's for people who are on the pencil shop plan. You can actually turn this into a shoppable design. But probably the most important thing is actually downloading it so that you can get it made. And if you go to the Download tab and you click on Production Model, that will generate a production ready STL, and you can click on that download button, and that's going to download it and have it so that you can go ahead and print and cast this. You can also download the designer model if you want the one with stones to use for other purposes as well. And that's a really basic intro into Pencil and the general concepts behind it and how everything works. There's a lot more, and I encourage you to watch more of the videos on our YouTube channel to understand some of the more advanced controls. And remember, if you ever get stuck, the product tours, you can do them here. They really do run through some of those more advanced things like rotating and moving stones and creating more advanced designs.